Okay, you have your NFL Week 16 prediction. So looking at your Thursday night game, you have the Bengals versus the Browns, which is not the Thursday night game anymore. It's actually the Chargers Broncos, which is the Thursday night game, but this thing hasn't updated. But the Bengals versus the Browns, both of these teams are pretty much out of playoff contention. I believe the Browns are going to be starting DTR this week, so I'm not sure how that's going to look. But Browns itself have not looked that good. Offense has been not good. Their defense hasn't been that good either. While the Bengals, even though they have one of the worst defenses in the NFL, I trust Joe Burrow. I think that Bengals offense is really good. So I'm gonna take the Bengals here. Then you have the Chiefs versus the Texans. Oh, both these teams honestly have not looked that good in recent weeks. The Chiefs did play a lot better versus the Browns. However, they're just the Browns. While the Texans, they beat the Dolphins, but their offense still looks out of sync. This one's gonna be a tight game through and through. I just can't really trust that Texans offense right now. I know the Texans have a really good defense, but their offense isn't there right now. And the Chiefs, slightly more well-rounded. I think Mahomes is going to be playing this game, so I'm going to take the Chiefs here. Then you have the Ravens versus the Steelers. Steelers are coming off a loss against the Eagles, while the Ravens are coming off a win against the Giants. It's a divisional game, Ravens and Steelers. This game can go either way depending on regardless of how good the teams are. And I think recently the Steelers have had the Ravens number, so I'm gonna pick the Steelers here. I think they're more well-rounded. I still don't really trust that Ravens defense. I'm gonna take the Steelers here. Then you have the Colts versus the Titans, another divisional game. Titans, they're gonna start Mason Rudolph, which I think actually gives the Titans a better chance to win. However, the Titans defense not terrible, but not great either, and their offense won't be explosive or anything. While the Colts, as long as Anthony Richardson does game managing football and let Jonathan Taylor run that offense, the Colts should do pretty good versus that Titans defense. And that Colts defense not great, but not terrible either. So I'm gonna take the Colts here. Then you have the Patriots versus the Bills. Patriots are in full just tank mode right now. Um, while the Bills, they're riding high right now. The Bills' defense is slightly concerning to me, so I do expect this to be a slightly higher scoring game. But that Josh Allen right now is playing his best football, so I'm going to take the Bills. Then you have the Chargers versus the Broncos, the actual Thursday night game. This is going to be a good game. The Chargers are now what lost back-to-back games are 8-6 now, while the Broncos are 9-5. Both these teams having good seasons with with good head coaches. Broncos, they've definitely have the momentum right now. Their defense is probably one of the best. Both these teams have great defenses. Um, this one's going to be a tight game. Chargers do have big home field advantage, and I expect that to be a big part of the game, to have a big advantage. However, I think I just trust that Broncos defense more than I trust that Chargers defense. And without J.K. Dobbins, I just don't really trust that Chargers offense. I'm going to take the Broncos here. Then you have the Raiders versus the Jaguars. Both these teams are tanked. This is a tank bowl. I guess I'll take the Jaguars. At least Mac Jones hasn't looked terrible-ish. So I'm going to take the Jaguars. Then you have the Jets versus the Rams. Definitely a trap game for the Rams. Jets, they're at home. They have a decently strong defense. However, the Rams, I think their offense has found a fire in them. They've been playing a lot better. Their defense played a lot better on Thursday. The Jets are broken right now. I'm going to take the Rams here. Then you have the Dolphins versus the Niners, both 6-8 teams, both very mediocre this season. Dolphins do have a big home field advantage and are slightly more healthy. That Niners offense is really injured without CMC, without Ayuk, and their defense really hasn't been that great this season. So I'm gonna take the Dolphins here. I think they have big home field advantage and they just 49ers have a losing record. Then you have the Bears versus the Lions. Definitely an upset game for the possible upset game for the Lions. Bears, their divisional rival, their defense honestly haven't played that great lately, but they're still pretty good defense. While the Lions, their defense has been uh, has been very injured. Their offense just lost Montgomery. However, the Bears just aren't the team to me, so I'm gonna take the Lions here. And the Falcons versus the Giants. This one's gonna be an ugly game, but the Giants are tanking, so I'm gonna take the Falcons here. Then you have the Commanders versus the Eagles, a potentially very. This one's going to be a very good game. Last time that played, the Eagles completely shut down the Commanders, and I don't really see that changing this time either. That Eagles defense has also been one of the best, and I expect them to slow down Daniels again, and I just can't trust the Commanders defense to carry them, so I'm going to take the Eagles here. Then you have the Panthers versus the Cardinals. I still don't know what to think of the Cardinals. Some weeks they look good, some weeks they look bad. Well, the Panthers, it was not a good game versus the Cowboys. I'm gonna take the Cardinals here. I think they need this. Cardinals need this game to stay in the playoff race. Then you have the Vikings versus the Seahawks. Vikings similar have another very good, great defense. That Seahawks offense, Gino might be injured right now. And I just Sam Howell is not good. That Seahawks defense only is kind of exposed, so I'm gonna take the Vikings here. Then you have the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. Baker Mayfield has played elite football this year. Not Cowboys secondary has not been good, especially with those injuries. So I'm gonna take the Bucks here. Then you have the Saints versus the Packers. Saints have pretty much shut down Derek Carr, and even with Carr, the rest of the Saints team is just old and injured. Packers, they're finding their stride now. I gotta take the Packers here, especially with home field advantage on prime time. So there you have it, my NFL Week 16 predictions.